Hello everyone, this is Neal Mitchell with PlanetHoax.com's first exclusive interview. This is Dr. Hovind. He's fresh out of prison, and he has a lot to say. Pretty much. Anyway, Dr. Hovind, I'd like for you to elaborate on your incarceration and then you're now free.
Okay. I was an evangelist for many years, Pensacola, Florida. IRS came in with a SWAT team and raided our house, and so took my wife out of bed, put her to get dressed, or put a robe on, or put a bathroom, and took us to prison. I said, "What are we being arrested for?" "We're being arrested for structuring." I said, "What on earth is that?" They said, "Well, you took your money out of the bank in amounts less than $10,000. I said, "That's a crime?" They said, "Oh yeah." They're trying to stupid structuring law was passed to prevent drug dealers from dealing in cash. I've never taken drugs. I've never tasted alcohol. Okay, I'm 62 and a half years old. But they had, I think, a sham trial. They put me in prison. I got a 10-year sentence for structuring. Our own money out of programs. And so I ended up going to prison for 9 years, got out 94 days ago. They're structuring. Not only that, they seized the money that was the church money taken out of the church bank. They said over those years you did it, it totaled $430,000. So you owe us $430,000. That money was spent on church bills, 5 years ago. They came in and seized the church ministry property. So the structuring law needs to be repealed, it needs to be retroactive, and it needs to have them pay the damages they did. Congress can do that in minutes, if they would. So anyway, half the Bible is written from prison by innocent people. So, I did not commit any crime, and I went to prison for 9 years, and God was really good. Out now, back to preaching.
Most of us were glad to see you out.
I'm glad to be out. They moved me 30 times while I was in prison.
Census unheard of. In any judicial system, I think, in the world, it was unheard of. Pretty bad. I'd like to ask you also about what you feel about all your scoffers that you've had over the years.
There are loads of scoffers, there always have been through history, who scoff at the Bible. Because of my science background, I guess, when I teach on science in the Bible, it drives the atheists crazy. Because science is where they like to think they have the upper hand, They think evolution is part of science. When evolution is actually a religion, something you have to believe in. There's no science to prove any animal can ever produce a different kind of animal. It's just pure religion. And so I'm good at pointing out how dumb the theory is, actually the religion. I've had 105 debates now with atheists. Can't find another opponent, but I'll take any of them on any time. If I get half the time, then we talk about one topic at a time. That's all I ask. So, yeah, I'd be glad to debate some. I've done a lot of those. There are plenty of scoffers. They seem to be, real brave when they're behind a computer screen with an anonymous name, But when you take a face-to-face debate in front of a university, they run like a bunch of cowards. So, tell them anytime, anywhere.
Would you like to make a formal challenge to Richard Dawkins and Bill Nye here?
We have tried to debate Richard Dawkins. He won't do it. My secretary called him years ago, and he hung up on her. I called him and got his secretary, and she hung up on me. Will not debate. I'd be honored to take him on anytime, okay, at my expense. He told somebody he would only debate creationists if they paid him $100,000. I'm not going to do that. I'll pay him $1,000 though for 2 hours to debate me. If we can videotape the debate, when we're done, he gets a master copy, I get a master copy. We can do with it as we please. As far as Bill Nye, same thing. I would be honored to debate him anytime. I think he's a nice guy. I think he's sincere. I think he's dead wrong on what he believes about evolution. Evolution's the dumbest religion ever thought of in the history of humanity. The idea that we all came from a rock, which came from nothing, from a big bang, I can't think of anything more stupid than that.
I must agree with that.
Yes, absolutely stupid.
I'd also like to ask you one other question, having to do with the threats that you may have been getting on the internet since you've been out of prison. I see they're pretty extreme, and I heard you elaborate on one of your videos that there was photographs being taken outside sort of acts. And I was wondering a little more about that so the public would know that this is what's really going on in America.
One of the guys that lives on the property that I live on in a separate house, there are two houses on the same lot, he does video editing and works for my son making his Genesis movie. He told me that he was over there at the Creation Today ministry in Pensacola, 1 mile from my house, and he went out to check on his car late at night, and just on a fluke happened to catch 3 Muslims out there leaning up against his car, one of them holding an axe. And he said, "What's going on here, folks?" "Oh, nothing, never mind," and they left. But the Muslims all over are filming themselves in front of Christian churches and ministries, bragging about how when the jihad comes, these are the people we're going to kill with this axe. And they do movies of themselves cutting people's heads off and stuff. And they're very serious.
Most certainly, they're very brazen. Sure. Also, one last question. How do you see your ministry in the future? And I say within like maybe 3 years from now, hopefully, where you may get it going.
For years, since 1989 or 90, I traveled all over and spoke on creation and evolution and the flood. I pretty much avoided end times because I wasn't clear myself on my theology. Now I am. And so 2 Peter 3 says the scoffers in the last days are ignorant of the creation, the flood, and the coming judgment. I'm going to add the third leg on the stool, the coming judgment. So I'll be teaching on creation, the flood, and the coming judgment, and eventually developing a video series on that. This is my first session to preach in 9 years, so I'm a little rusty.
Well, you did pretty well tonight from what I watched.
Well, you have a lot of rough edges to knock off.
We like the old days of Dr.Dino.
Yes, I'm ready to go again.
All right, well, sir, I do thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much for being here and being back on your 2 feet.
Amen. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Well, that's it,
Ken,
folks,
this young man has a question for you.
for PlanetHoax.com's first exclusive interview. We got the big little Ken Hovind.
Tell them to go to 2peter3.com if you want to see my stuff.
Thank you very much again,
Thank you,
sir.
brother.
All right, thank you.